Hi, welcome. My name is Paul Donovan and I'm from avtechnician.ca, your channel for tips and tricks for AV technicians. Welcome back for another video. This video is part 2 of PowerPoint for AV technicians. Feel free to watch the first video where I talked also about PowerPoint. This video is a little bit on the discussion. It's a little more theory than do this, but we'll see how it goes. So, if you like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you give me a thumbs up, where's my thumb? There's my thumb. Thumbs up, that'd be great to hear. And don't forget to leave comments because, I read them, I like them, and most of the time they're actually pretty nice. So in part 1, I covered 2 tips that are used in almost every event with PowerPoint. Now I'm going to take a look at some other tools that are used a little more often, because that's the way things are. You never do things exactly the same way every time you do an event. So this time we're going to do the same thing. We're going to try and do tips that are used often or fairly often. Now, one of the things that has come to happen lately, especially as over the pandemic, people learned to use their computers a little more, and people who are doing presentations and speakers and so on, they wanted to find ways to do things to smooth out the whole process. In PowerPoint, there's this thing called presenter view and notes. And what happens when you're creating your PowerPoint, what you do is you can create notes that go underneath the slide that you can look at while the slideshow is happening and while you're doing your presentation. It makes you look more efficient instead of having to fumble around with papers all the time. Now, those who have made notes want to be able to see them. Those that haven't made notes couldn't care less about what we're about to talk about. But as I said, more and more people are becoming more and more interested in seeing their notes, and therefore we want to use the presenter view in PowerPoint. Now, the absolute simplest way to allow speakers to see their notes is if the laptop is sitting on the podium right in front of them. Dirt simple. You set it on extended desktop mode and you just run. And they have the slides and the next slide, and they have their notes right there in front of them, right on the lectern, the podium, whatever you want to call it. And the audience sees the big slides on the big screen. They don't have to turn their head, although, everybody does it anyway. But you're going to turn their head and look at the big screen. They don't have to. They can look at the laptop, see their notes, see their slide, and they're super happy. Now, there are other ways where if you are like a lot of AV technicians, you want that laptop to be sitting at your tech table. You don't want to have to run front to back, front to back, front to back every few minutes or every time they change the presenter. Well, here's another idea that you can do. So let's work our way through this. So, assuming you have a laptop that has been provided, then the AV company hopefully has the laptop properly configured. It should be real simple for you to do this. Put the laptop at the front away. Now, of course, it's never simple when we're doing AV work. Never. So, client walks in, presenter walks in with their own laptop, and suddenly we have a whole new set of issues to deal with. So, in part 1, we discussed about the idea of setting a laptop to an extended desktop and then putting a wallpaper or a desktop pattern that is the default slide for the event. And that means that if you set everything up right on the remote extended desktop, which is the big screen or TV, you should see the default slide. If hopefully you're not going to see any of the taskbar across the bottom, you're not going to see weird icons and so on. Nice clean image makes you look professional. So we're assuming that you have the ability to set that up. So you set up the company laptop or you set up the main laptop that is being used for the event, and you put it up on the podium, and everything's cool. The worst case scenario, and believe me, the bigger the conference, the more likely you're going to have at least one of these guys, women, men, women, people, they will arrive as they're being announced or moments before they're announced with a laptop and want to have the laptop up on the podium and you have not had a chance to test it. And the odds are that that laptop is a Mac. I love Macs. Don't get me wrong. But 99% of the time when we have compatibility issues and don't have time to test it out in advance, and if it's not a Mac that causes trouble, it's an old laptop. Okay? So the best scenario is if a presenter wants to use their own laptop, is they come to you before the event starts or at break time or at lunchtime, and you put their laptop, attach it up, and you see if there will be any issues. You get to test it out, test out the sound, test out the resolution, test out that it just works. Because any laptop made in the last, I'm going to be wild here, 15 years, should just work. It's always that one that just decides that. Okay. We love all of our presenters. We smile all the time because we are professionals. And we do what we have to do, and we don't grumble about it. We wait to get back to the tech table and we start going, whatever. But no, we are professionals, right? All right, so why do the presenters want it on the podium? Well, number one, they want to see their notes. Now, the other thing that might happen is if they happen to be using an application that's not PowerPoint, such as the Apple program called Keynote, or if they're using Prezi, I'm just going to say Prezi and move on. And one of the latest ones that people are starting to do is Canva. This is a web-based program that can do PowerPoint, not PowerPoint, but presentations. But I'm going to pause right there because I don't want to get into rant and rave about Prezi and Canva and all these other tools. Even worse is the Google presenting software. Ugh. Some people just insist on using these things, even though they complicate the whole show. Moving on. The other reason that they want the laptop is because maybe they're demonstrating something. Maybe they have an application that they need to demonstrate, or a website where they want to show where you click on things and so on. This is quite an issue, too, that happens occasionally, especially the more technical the presentation. People like to be able to and here you go this, and they click this, and you click this here. Yeah. And the worst one is, or the last one is not happening as much as it used to, is file compatibility. Many people nowadays, a lot of people who do presentations have Mac computers. And for whatever reason, they love to do that nice, beautiful, exotic font, and it's not on a Windows computer. And they get all frustrated when their presentation doesn't look right. So there's a file compatibility. Sometimes it's just a font. Other things can also happen. Links and hyperlinks and embedded material can sometimes not work very well. This is why every convener tells the people, keep it simple. Right? Okay. So this is the time, if the laptop's up at the podium, you're at the tech table, and believe me or not, there's anywhere up to 100, 200, 300 feet distance between the tech table and the podium, up on the stage in front of all the people. And when the laptop is up there, 9 times out of 10, you are the one who has to get off the tech table, walk at a quick pace. Don't run, because it doesn't make you look professional, especially if you're like me with a big belly and you bounce. Okay. You walk rapidly to the front, because you now have to close the presentation that was just finished and open the next one. And if somebody's walked on the stick, you have to stick the stick in and copy it. And of course, if you've got the extended desktop, nobody in the audience can see anything that's going on. But you are standing directly in front of that podium while the moderator is attempting to introduce the next speaker. Shouldn't there be a way that I can do that without actually having to block the moderator and block things? I wonder. Well, yes, there is. There is remote access software that is available. And for example, you've got TeamViewer, AnyDesk, Microsoft's and Apple's remote desktop, and the free VNC from TinyVNC, www.tinyvnc.com. These allow you to sit at a laptop that's sitting at your tech table, run them, and access the desktop up on the stage, and you can then move the mouse around while the moderator is happily going, and next we have Dr. Joe Peterson, and he's going to come and amaze us about this thing and the newest knee joint, and in the meantime you're going, and it's all happening on the desktop up on the podium. Talk about looking pretty professional. That's one way to do it. It sure saves you having to run up and stand in front of the crowd and block the presentation until you do your little act. So this software, whether it's any TeamViewer or any AnyDesk or any of this like that, or VNC, it allows you to see that laptop's desktop. It lets you transfer files from your computer to that computer, and the moderator keeps on talking. They're so happy. The technical problem is VNC has to be run on the laptop that's sitting up at the podium. If it's your company's laptop, you can do that. But if it's a client's laptop, maybe they've got restrictions. Their IT department is restricting the access and not able to install something. And the second part of it is you got to make sure that laptop at front and the laptop on your tech table are on the same network and subnet mask. If you don't know what that is, we're going to be right. IP numbers 192.168.50.1, that 50, right? Both laptops have to be on that same 50. And then there has to be no firewall. The network itself has to not have any lockdowns and controls. It's not good. I have my own personal laptop set up with VNC, and if I'm using them, I make sure that both laptops are on the same network. Even if it's not the internet, it's on my same network so they can talk to each other, because, I don't want to run up to the front every few minutes. But I do, because, I'm a professional, and I really like to do things to make my clients happy. All right? Most of us like to have the laptop at the tech table. It eliminates all that exercise. It's easiest for us to update the files because every presenter comes in with a stick, even though they just sent it in this morning and said, I got a new one. I made a few changes. Plus, you also have the ability to switch back and forth. You can switch to a looping slide during break time, lunchtime. You could run something else. Maybe if somebody wants to play back a video for whatever part of a presentation or for other purposes. But there's no presenter notes for the presenter. Now, when you have the laptop at your tech table, they're going to need a way to click their slides forward. And there's two most common and popular devices. One here in the slide is on the right, is a Logitech or alternate branded type power slide advancer. Not too great, but they're okay. And then you have the Perfect Cue from Dyson. They come in a small one, like the one you see on the screen is the mini version. There's also a larger one. These are expensive, but they have great range. You can go 100, 150 feet away, and they have good range. And this is really handy because if they have a clicker, then they don't mind because they can advance the slides even when the laptop's sitting at the tech table. And the funny thing is even if the laptop's in front of them on the podium, they want a clicker. They want to be able to advance their slides with a clicker, even though the laptop's right there. And we smile because we're professionals. Are you having fun yet? There is the option available, if you can set yourself up, is a comfort monitor, or sometimes called a confidence monitor, a cue monitor, a cheat monitor, all sorts of different ways. You can have this set up so they don't turn their heads to look at the big screen. They will do it anyway. They will turn their head and look. Okay? If it's a small enough monitor, say up to 24 inches, you can place it on the head table at the front. If it's a larger one, generally a TV, some of the bigger ones, then we want to sort of think about putting it on a stand, sitting on the floor, sitting at an angle. And this little guitar stand actually helps that monitor, the TV, to sit at just a nice angle when it's about 15, 20 feet away from the presenter. Perfect thing, okay? Now that's just the simple words description. I am going to do part 3, where I'm going to explore a new way. No, maybe it's not so new, but another way to have presenter notes at the front with the laptop back at the back with messages. So look forward to part 3, where I'm going to talk about that one. Thank you for watching today's video. Like or subscribe. Like, give thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Leave me comments. It's all sorts of wonderful, fun things. I'm Paul Donovan. Welcome to welcome, but thank you for watching this video on avtechnician.ca. Tips and tricks for AV technicians. See you again. Bye-bye.